Good afternoon, class. How is everyone? Okay, that's good to hear. Welcome to the last episode of this micro-teaching series, where we will again train your mind and fill them with science concepts. Here are our classroom rules. Be on time, be respectful, ask questions, always do your best, and enjoy learning. This day we will be discussing the wonders of species diversity and its effect on survival of organisms. But before we proceed to the discussion, I want you to be informed that I will be your guide to attain the learning objectives at the end of our session. And these are to identify the environmental factors affecting survival of organisms in a changing environment, differentiate the types of adaptation, and explain how species diversity increases the probability of adaptation and survival of organisms in changing environments. Let's now have a review of the previous discussion about the occurrence of evolution. May I call on Miss Jaira to share her learnings with the last topic? Okay, very good. Thank you. Now I can say that you have learned the significant concepts of the previous topic and are ready to learn this new lesson. To introduce you with the contents of our topic, let's play Sino Ka Dyan, where we will encounter amazing organisms. Let's begin! Number 1. I freeze myself until my heart stops. What am I? A. Wood frog, B. Penguin, C. Cobra, or D. Squirrel? Letter A. Wood frog. Correct. Next. I can survive without water. What am I? A. Rattlesnake, B. Camel, C. Kangaroo rat, or D. Scorpion? Letter C. Kangaroo rat. Very good. And last, I am immune to venom. Therefore, I am venom. What am I? A. King snake, B. Rattlesnake, C. King cobra, or D. Anaconda? Letter A. King snake. Correct. Now I would like to ask, when you hear species diversity and its effect on survival of organisms, what comes into your mind? Anyone? Yes, Gian. That's a great idea. Let's begin the discussion by talking about the various abiotic factors affecting survival of organisms. Abiotic factors are non-living parts of the environment that have a major influence on living organisms. They determine things like how, where, and why certain organisms are found. In this lesson, we have 5 abiotic factors, namely water, sunlight, temperature, atmospheric pressure, and chemical compounds. First, we have water. Water is a very important abiotic factor. It is often said that water is life. All living organisms need water. In fact, water makes up at least 50% of all living things. Some organisms are made up of 95% water. Water is also essential because other substances easily dissolve into it. This allows water to carry nutrients to cells and waste away from them. Let's have these organisms as an example. First on the list, we have the lungfish, which have organs known as gills that are capable of extracting oxygen from water. Unlike other fish, they are able to breathe air. Next, we have devil lizard. Their spikes all over their body help them to get drink of water in dry sand country, from dewdrops to their mouths. And lastly, a rat needs other living things to escape from a body of water. We can see here the beauty of symbiotic relationship among organisms. Second factor, we have temperature. Temperature is an abiotic factor that is strongly influenced by sunlight, because the amount and strength of sunlight varies by location. The Earth's surface has different temperature in different zones. Some animals survive well in moderate temperature, some cannot. For an example, in cold places, we have here an Arctic fox. They have their muscles, ears, legs, and fur as an adaptation. This allows them to conserve heat and as camouflage against predators. Eliandre, can you tell me why are animals found in cold places commonly white? Okay, very good. Next, take a look at this fennec right here. They commonly live on desert. Their ears, fur, and feet are adapted for them to survive in a heat day and cold nights. It keeps them insulated and enables them to radiate body heat. Third, we have sunlight. So sunlight is the main source of energy on Earth, which makes it an important abiotic factor. Sunlight is also significant in the production of oxygen and to an area's temperature. Can someone please explain the picture in the slide? Yes, Mr. Elijah? Very good. This picture shows a food chain that reflects to the importance of sunlight to maintaining balance in the ecosystem and survival of organisms. Next, we have atmospheric pressure. These environmental factors affect the organism's survival in particular range of atmospheric pressure. Always remember that the higher the altitude, the lower the air pressure is, while the deeper the depth of the ocean, the higher the pressure is. For examples, the first image shows a blobfish. They adapted with a body structure consists of mainly gelatinous mass and relatively lack of muscles. Their entire body is only slightly denser than water. Next, you can see a Ruppel's griffon vulture, which can fly up to 37 feet high. They have bullet-shaped bodies suited for flight as it helps with the center of gravity and balance. Their wings and feathers are also adapted to manipulate air for riding. How is atmospheric pressure important in survival of organisms? Chloe, please answer. Correct, very good. And lastly, we have chemical compounds. Carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen are essential elements of life. Organic and organic compounds are derived mostly in plants and other food sources, which are very essential for every organism to live. So in this slide, you can see the difference and examples of organic and inorganic compounds. Now that we are done with the essential abiotic factors for survival of organisms, let's now proceed with their adaptations for survival. All organisms have their own way of adaptation to survive and thrive. It is usually a result of evolution in which the species undergo changes over a long period of time. It also happens when a gene mutates or changes by accident. Is adaptation and evolution the same? Nicole? Correct. Very good. They are different. So we have three types of adaptation for survival. First, we have behavioral adaptation, which concerns with the things animals does to survive or response made by the organism to reproduce. It is the way organisms act in a certain situation. For example, the male satin bird creates a nest decorated with blue ornaments to show females that he is a superior mate. Next type, we have the structural adaptation that deals with the physical features that allows an organism to survive. Take a look at the stick insect at the picture. So as you can see, it blends in well with its surrounding, making it difficult for predators to see the organisms. Living organisms depends on their physical appearance to help them secure food, keep them safe, build their home, and withstand climate change. Another example in here are roses. They have thorns that are positioned downwards to keep insects from crawling to eat the leaves and buds. And of course, we have physiological adaptation that refers to the internal and or external cellular features of an organism that enables them to survive. These organisms that are commonly under this type are the snakes, as they are able to release toxins or poisons towards of their predators. Also, organisms with temperature regulation abilities such as wood frog. Yesha, what are the three types of adaptation for survival? Very good. Let's now proceed with the adaptation for unfavorable condition. I think these are the common adaptations that most of you are aware of. First, we have migration, where animals move from one area to another depending upon the environment. If the place they are into is favorable on their side, they will stay. But if changes occur, they will move. An example of this is the current situation between Russia and Ukraine, where people migrate in order to survive. Next, we have hibernation. This is an inactive state of an organism during winter season. Organisms like squirrels and mouse hibernate. They first collect food and consume it before going to this state. Also, bears hibernate. Remember that small organisms wake up fast than larger organisms. Lastly, we have estivation. This is the process same as to hibernation, but this occurs during summer. Animals that estivate during summer include snake, crocodile, and lungfish. Now we have the three levels of biodiversity, mainly genetic, species, and ecosystem diversity. First, the genetic diversity. This covers distinct populations of the same species. For example, a dog. Dogs have different variation of gene composition. The second type is species diversity. This refers to the different species within a region or community, also the number of species in a region that possesses genetic variation and distribution. So as you can observe, the types of diversity are from smaller identification to larger one. Lastly, we have ecosystem diversity. This discusses the different biome, which is called the world's major communities, which are characterized by adaptations of organisms in a particular environment. Before we end our topic, may I ask Andrea, what did you learn from today's session? Okay, very good. AJ, how will you relate our topic to your daily encounters with organisms? Okay, thank you. Now to close this topic, may I ask if you now can discuss the environmental factors that affect the survival of organisms in a changing environment? Can you now discuss the types of adaptation? Can you now explain how species diversity increases the probability of adaptation and survival of organisms in changing environments? Okay, very good. Well done. Can you please generalize our discussion for today, Mr. John Paul? Okay, very good. Let's now have an evaluation. Get your pen and paper. Answer the following questions. Number 1. Enumerate the 5 environmental factors affecting survival of organisms. Number 2. Briefly define the 3 types of adaptation. And number 3. How species diversity increases the probability of adaptation and survival of organisms in changing environments. Time's up. Pass your papers. To conclude our discussion, I want you to reflect on the idea that when we adopt, it means we face the extreme challenges and we conquer. In life, we learn to fight, adjust, and improve after facing struggles. And that's what is important. Not to stay in a condition where you keep on repeating the same problem over the same period of time. So, do you have any questions? Okay, if none, that's it for today's discussion. Thank you. And take a rest that you deserve. Goodbye!
Audio Jungle.